thank you for listening to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. This is Real Sports Talk for the Real Sports Fan, and I definitely appreciate you Real Sports fans who are listening right now. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, thank you. Go ahead and please leave that 5-star rating at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 5-star rating and review will definitely be appreciated. If you're listening on Spreaker Radio on the 3-Point Conversion Station, we appreciate you as well. And please let us know what you think of the show, because the 3-Point Conversion Station is where fans' opinions matter. So if you think the show is hot, please let us know. Don't hold back. If you think this show can improve, let me know how. I want to be great at this, and your constructive criticism will help me do that, all right? So please let me know what you think of the show. And today I'm very excited because we have a special guest on the phone line. This man right here is the CEO and founder of the 3-Point Conversion. He is the host of the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge. He's out here doing it big. He's a celebrity now. Y'all on Yahoo and whatnot. He's really out here doing his thing. How you doing today, Mr. Controversy?
What's going on, man? Did you miss me?
Now, for the people who may not know about you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you have going on right now?
Man, they don't know about Mr. Controversy? No, Mr. Controversy, yes. So, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I was actually born in Austin, Illinois. I never did Austin. We love small town in Illinois. Then we moved to Chicago, as little kids. But from Chicago, and then right in Atlanta, Georgia, big sports fan, or Chicago fan. But for the most part, like you said, I am the owner and CEO of the 3-Point Conversion, and it is we are a sports media company. You can check us out at 3pointconversion.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, we're everywhere. But the company, the 3-Point Conversion, is a sports company. Like I said, we put out sports media from a fan perspective, and our slogan is where fans' opinions matter. And me, myself, like I said, I'm a Down fan. I do have a radio show right now, but I don't think none of this detracts from my fanhood. Like, I don't let it get fanhood. I'm going to always be a fan. Like I said, that's the whole purpose. So I would never first criticism. I tell them like it is. And I'm just that fan. Don't really with you. We're gonna argue. I'm gonna do that debate. I love to do that. That's Mr. Controversy. That's why I came up with the name. People always say that you're too controversial. You always want to argue about certain topics that should just be left alone. No. I think when it comes to sports, everything should be brought to the table. We shouldn't just talk about the obvious. Easy to say LeBron James is the greatest player in the world. His IQ is great because he makes passes or whatever. Makes passes, he's getting triple doubles and everything, making teammates better. But we don't talk about him pump faking when he has a 6'3" guard on him. And then 5 feet from the basket, and he pump fakes. With a 6'3" guard on him. Why? And then passes it out. That's not high IQ. Like I said, people aren't talking about that. They like talking about the obvious things that you can see that is noticeable that everyone else talks about. But I go against that. I guess that's why they call him Mr. Controversy.
Okay, definitely right there. He always brings it. And like you say, you come from a different perspective. And one of the things that I like about you is that you're always working. I always see you covering NBA, Major League Soccer. You out here got college baseball, college football, college basketball. I saw you at my Uncle Spade's tournament last week. My niece told me that you was at her hide and seek game. Like, you be everywhere covering every sport. And most recently, you've been covering the NCAA tournament. How does covering the NCAA tournament compare to other sports like, say, the NBA?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know why? Because covering the NBA for me personally, and I can't wait till we all do it. You yourself, you're going to be covering things, those games. soon. Watch out for Damian. He will be at a Phoenix Suns game very soon, within the next year. But going back to the NBA and what's different about it, the NBA is different because covering the NBA game, they're professionals. They're used to the fanfare, to the big moments. Some games are bigger than others. So the vibe of an NBA game is like, all right, we're here to work. We're going to work. We need to do what we need to do. And you're going to see good play. You see James Harden, Steph Curry, you see players like that. I mean, they give you a great show. And not everybody plays hard in the NBA. That's, like I said, let's be real. So the vibe is cool. It was a dream come true. But covering the NCAA tournament, honestly, this was my first time doing it, so I didn't know what to expect. I knew it would be crazy as far as the fans, but really didn't know how I would take it in. And when I tell you it was the best event I've ever covered, just because it's not like the NBA. Like I said, the NBA players come in with the attitude of, okay, we're going to work, we're earning this money, whereas college is all heart. It's all to win. I mean, everyone. From whether you play 1 minute a game or you're the starter, everybody comes to win, and everybody is in it. The coaches, the water boy, everybody. It was like, to feel that excitement in the game, it was something special. Then the fans, NBA fans, the fans, like, I cover the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks right now aren't playing well. And so for the most part, if they're not here to watch the other team, and then you do have some fans that are there for the Hawks, but it's like, okay, they scored, they might cheer, they'll cheer harder for the other team, that best player did something crazy, but that's it. Whereas the whole game, time out, while the mascot's on the floor, everybody's cheering, going crazy. The emotion, by the players now, the emotion. Coaches going back and forth with the refs. And what I've noticed is, I don't know if you noticed, but watching the tournament, and then even being there, I noticed that the college players have more room to go back and forth with the refs than the NBA players, which was shocking. But again, the excitement, and the players they're playing to win, man. They pour their heart out. So I think that was the biggest thing I took from it. And like I said, it was a ball. That was the greatest event I've ever covered. So I can imagine what the Final Four would be like.
Wow, that's a really good perspective there, and a really good point about how college players have more leeway with the referees than pro players. You think it would be the opposite. That's very interesting right there. And when you're covering college basketball NCAA tournament, is your approach different when you go to ask a college coach or a college player questions versus pro players and pro coaches?
Yeah, it is, because the college coaches to me, they're more willing to talk about what's going on. It's, even with the players, with the coaches, like asking the NBA coach questions, like, they don't resist, and they'll get straight to the point. Whereas, depending on, I think Steve Kerr is good at that as far as he loves to explain, and certain coaches are. But with a college coach, he's going to explain more of the X's and O's. It's not about us winning, but they like to go in depth, and that's what I've noticed. So the questions are different. I wouldn't, usually with the NBA, a coach, I would ask a direct question. It'd be just, what did you see right here? Or why did you do that? Versus the college coach, I'm trying to pick their brain. I'm trying to see, it's different. It's just a different vibe. With the players, NBA players, they're like, look, let's hurry up and do this so we can go. And I'm not trying to paint a bad picture about NBA players. I'm just saying it's work to them. 82 games, I understand it, players, just to give you an inside look at what goes on, you have the media standing there waiting while the players are getting dressed. You know, and if you're in the locker room, I mean, we're sitting there waiting, and the players know that, okay, I'm trying to get dressed, but they're standing here looking at me like, you know, man, like they have nothing else to do. And then once they get done, everybody rushes in to ask questions. Whereas college is different. You know, college, they're eager to talk, especially if they want it. And like I had I know we're going to get into it later, but I had the opportunity, the great opportunity to cover basically a Cinderella team, which think they're not a Cinderella team, but you know, it's Team Loyola Chicago, and to ask them questions, and they were just so eager, they couldn't wait to be asked, you know, be asked a question, and they were excited to answer. It's totally different.
Wow, yeah, I definitely can see that. You know, when you see the interviews that's on the 3-Point Conversion YouTube page, you can just tell a difference with the college athletes and coaches and how more open they are. But like you said, with the NBA, you can understand how much of a grind it really is. You know, every day in and out doing this, and I definitely can understand, you know, why they could get a little bit to the point where they're tired of asking, you know, answering questions and things of that nature. And speaking of the Final Four, it is that time of the year. Time for us to get to the nitty-gritty of it and see who you have winning. So for the first matchup this Saturday, we have Loyola Chicago versus Michigan. So you've got to cover Loyola, you know, pretty closely. Do you see them taking down Michigan on Saturday?
Yes, I do, man. I do. You know, that team is, and hopefully, if Michigan, I say this, if Michigan comes out and they're not looking at them as a Cinderella team or this team is getting lucky, Michigan will have a chance. But when I say Loyola really believe that they should be here, and they play like they should be here. The thing about it is you got to understand, when you have small schools like this, most of the time, because they don't have the best players, you know, they don't get to pick the best players, I'll say that. So they're more not skillful, they play more on fundamentals. They're easier to coach. And their technique is, you know, great. And I think that's the difference between a team like Loyola and playing a big-time school like, you know, Kentucky, Kansas State, even Michigan. I think that's what separates them, and that's why they're able to move on. Michigan, I know they're more athletic. They're very defensive-minded, you know, because of the athleticism. They can block shots. They know how to cover it. I mean, that's what got them here so far. They had an explosion the game before last, but it's their defense. But when I tell you, it's not as easy playing a team that's constantly moving, the ball is moving around. They have a big man that can play. It's a rookie. It's a freshman named Cameron Crutwick. He plays for Loyola. Big guy. When I tell you that guy's footwork is phenomenal and he knows how to put the ball in the basket, his problem is he gets in foul trouble. But still, when I say they have shooting, they have toughness, they have the big man, and they have the will, I really think they're going to beat Michigan. I think right now this team, it's going to be hard to really just blow this team away. You know, and I think they'll get to the finals. I think they will. I think they get in the championship, man. It's just hard. Like, watching them, it's just so hard to see them get beat when they're playing straight off fundamentals. And they have talent also, but you have talent, then you're playing fundamentally sound, it's hard to beat them.
Yeah, I definitely can see that, especially with the game against Kansas State. You saw how they stayed composed. Kansas State tried to throw their athleticism at them, and they stayed composed. It was like, okay, we're an older team. We know the pressure of this full court press ain't going to bother us at the end of the game. We got fundamentals. We're going to knock down our free throws. We're good to go. I'm definitely rooting for them. In the other matchup, we have Villanova versus Kansas. You know, these are two familiar teams that, you know, we normally see around this time of the year. Who you have in this matchup?
Wait, before I go any further, I have to say, so they got Sister Jean, man. You can't go against Sister Jean. You can't do that. You know, I got a chance to take a picture with her, man. I got to touch her and talk to her, man. Her aura is real. You know, I didn't want to cuss or do anything after I heard. But anyway, Kansas and Villanova. I have Villanova. Like, I picked Michigan State to win it all. Ever since they got knocked out, even when it started, watching Villanova, they've been the only team to me that's played like a number one team. Even the times when they've been down, watching them get down. Last game when it was Texas Tech they played, and when they got down, get that, when they played West Virginia, when they were down, still came to battle back and ended up beating them by a large margin. That's a championship team. Now, that's another team that, even though they get to pick great players or good players, fundamentally sound. You know, everything is crisp when they play. You know, I think that with Villanova, because they're coached well, they have the talent, and then they're based on fundamentals, it's hard to beat a team like that. You know, and I like the veteran leadership that they have. And Kentucky, Kansas, I like Kansas. I do. I think they're another team that's that are coached well. I like Self as a coach. But when you look at players like Brunson, you know, veterans that know how to play well, you got to think about it. Most of the seniors that's playing on Villanova, they were playing in the last championship that they were in. They've been there before. So they know what it takes to win. And that's why I have Villanova win.
Okay, so national championship game, you got Loyola Chicago versus Villanova. Should be an epic matchup. Who do you have winning the national championship?
As long as I want Loyola Chicago to win, I got to go with Villanova, you know, for the things I said. I mean, yes, the Ramblers, they have heart, but they're basically facing a team that plays with fundamentals, like I've said many times, but then they have talent. They have the talent. You know, I like the coach, Porter, for the Ramblers, but, I mean, Villanova, I think they're coached well, and then they have players who are experienced. And I think, to me, the championship game is where experience comes in. And I have, because I don't think that Loyola played a team with much experience in the Final Four. I mean, in the tournament, I don't think so. Nevada, they have experience. Kansas State, they have experience. I mean, they got their way by, you know, with the upset earlier, but they haven't played with anybody with experience so far. And I think now, because they're playing a team that has lots of experience, not just in the tournament itself, but in the national championship game, it has to go to Villanova. I have Nova winning it. Shamefully saying that, but I do.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Villanova over Loyola Chicago for the national championship. And now let's switch gears a little bit. I'm starting a new segment on the show called Old School Debate. All right. So Old School Debate is going to be where me and the guests debate about which is better. It could be between who's the better player, better coach, better team. It could be basketball, football, college, baseball, doesn't matter what it is. We're going to set up a debate, an old school debate. And today's old school debate is who was the better point guard, John Stockton or Jason Kidd? So who do you have as your better? Who do you have as your better point guard, John Stockton or Jason Kidd?
When I first saw this and you brought it to my attention, at first I wanted to get you to stop it. You know, I'm like, stop it. But then I thought about it. It's tougher and closer than I really thought it would be. But I still have to give the nod to John Stockton, man. I mean, Jason Kidd is one of the most underrated point guards. Even though everybody likes him, I still think he's underrated. And the way he, not just he managed the game, but his leadership. He was a leader. And I don't think he gets a lot of credit for that. You know, everybody says he knows how to control the game and, be that point guard to distribute the ball, but just because you know how to pass the ball, and that doesn't make you a leader. Because you're getting triple doubles, that doesn't make you a leader. But he was a leader. He took teams that weren't that good, and he took them far. Now, true enough, we all know the East back then was garbage. I mean, that Boston team that they played in the conference finals, come on, man. They shouldn't even been there. That's how garbage. I think that was 0-2. Boston, garbage. So, yeah, they didn't have good teams, and the East was weak. But at the same time, the way he led, and think about it, what if he would have played with Jamal Mashburn and Jimmy Jackson? What if they would have all got along? That would have been scary,
Definitely.
Think about the teams that he played on. Like, what was his best teammate besides when he was older and he got with Dirk?
Man.
Yeah. Oh, Kerry Kittles? I heard Kenyon Martin.
That's
true. I think he played with Stat one year, Stoudemire, when he was in Phoenix. But I don't think he had great players. He played with any good players. But I still go with Stockton because John Stockton, not only was he a leader, but John Stockton could do it all. People say, Kidd could do it all. Yeah, but Kidd wasn't a great scorer. I mean, yeah, because Kidd is weird to see Kidd as like number one and number two, I think, in three-pointers made when he came in the league as the worst shooter in NBA history. I mean, he was like Alonzo Ball,
Yeah.
Exactly like him. But, he didn't score. Whereas Stockton didn't score because he didn't need to score. But Stockton could score. Stockton probably could have averaged over 20 points a game easily. Because he had his jump shot was water. He can get to the hole anytime he needed to. But he decided to make everyone better. I think the only person besides Magic Johnson that made every teammate better than Jason Kidd did, it would be John Stockton, who was the leader of assists. Then he's the leader of the steals. So he played defense, but he was tough. That's one thing. I'm not saying Kidd was soft, but I think we don't recognize that with John Stockton. John Stockton was tough. You hear all the players talk about John Stockton. He was dirty, and he was tough. You never seen him complain. He would get knocked down. No emotions. He was tough. And he could score. He could pass the ball. He couldn't rebound. But I wouldn't expect him to rebound the ball. But he could pass, play defense, score, and he was a leader. So I give a nod to John Stockton. Now, let me ask you a question. I know you're the host, but I want to ask you, do you think that if Kidd played with Malone, do you think Malone would have got a championship?
I do think so. I think that you made some good points that I'm going to make for Jason Kidd in this case. Now, with Jason Kidd, you mentioned that he didn't get to play with Hall of Famers throughout his prime, right? He had Vince Carter for a little bit, and Vince Carter's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. But as far as during his prime, you talk about when he was in Dallas, he was really young. Him, Mashburn, and Jackson didn't get along. Then you had those years in Phoenix. I don't remember who was on those Phoenix teams when he was there, to be honest. And in New Jersey, he got to the finals 2 times in a row. Even if it's a watered down East, with that squad, it's still hard. Right. Kerry Kittles, Kenyon Martin, Todd McCullough. When you have somebody on your team named Todd McCullough, you just deserve credit for bringing him to the finals. Period. And I think the big difference between Stockton and Kidd for me is that I think Kidd was more like a Peyton Manning in that he created the system. Like with Peyton Manning, wherever he went, you knew Peyton Manning was running the offense. You might have your offensive coordinator, but they're going to design the offense around what Peyton Manning can do. John Stockton, not saying that he couldn't have been that type of player, but we didn't see it because he came into Jerry Sloan's system. And it was literally in that system for his whole career. And that system was designed for him and Karl Malone to thrive. And it was basic pick and roll. They, come down on the pick and roll. You go to the corner with Hornacek. It was a very basic offense that worked because of the talent they had. With Kidd, it was Kidd's going to run the offense. He's going to look and make things happen. And with Stockton, he was part of the system. And we don't know if he was more than a system player. He was great in that system. And most players, 99% of them are system players. But I think Jason Kidd was somebody who you can create the system around. And you think...
You know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say this, though? The difference is, I hear what you're saying, but I think Stockton was the system. They weren't running it when they didn't run it until they figured out that, okay, I can, Stockton can do this. And I think Stockton was the system. I think that's when Jerry Sloan switched to that and said, you know what, let's go ahead and let's run this pick and roll. But another thing I think that we missed when we talked about them too, you made a great point. He said, Peyton Manning, he was the system. He was the system. He did everything. He controlled everything. Kidd did that. You're right. But I think Stockton always made smart plays. Kidd a fine as players, and Kidd was a leader. But when it came to the smart play and the right play, I think Stockton did that more often than Kidd did. And I think, yes, you played the pick and roll. It's easy when you got Karl Malone. But you understand there were times where he knew to take the shot. Or he knew to kick it out to someone else. He set up his players. And I think that's why he was so successful. Now, true enough, you're right. Kidd, like we said, remember when they had this corner, to me, that wasn't a good fit. They didn't mesh well to me. I mean, I didn't think that was going to work anyway.
No, they had some,
go ahead.
Yeah, they had some decent years there. I think they made it to the second round of playoffs when it was a lot of highlights when you think about Kidd, throwing alleys to Vince Carter and Richard Jefferson. And they didn't really have, really good big men at the time. I think that was one of the things that they struggled with. But for Kidd, like I said, he's the system. And John Stockton did do a great job in that system. And maybe you're right. Jerry Sloan saw John Stockton and said, okay, we could do pick and roll all day, and they can't stop it because of how good Stockton is. But I think with Kidd and how athletic Kidd was, if you give him that same system, and as the years go on, he develops that jump shot. Like you mentioned, he's top 10 all time in three-point field goals made after coming into the league with no jump shot at all. You have him develop like that in that system, with Karl Malone, I think Jason Kidd gets him a championship. And even in his later years when he was with Dallas and they got that championship, he was still very important to that team.
Yeah, very.
Because just the way he controlled tempo. That's a very big thing that you don't really see today with today's point guards, how to control tempo. Because everybody plays fast. Like, pretty much everybody plays fast. So you don't really see a point guard say, okay, we're going to slow it down to mess up their rhythm, or we're going to speed it up to mess up their rhythm. It's not really a change of pace, really. Everybody plays as fast as they can, really. So with Jason Kidd, you saw him say, okay, I got this team in New Jersey where he might not have that much talent, but we got some athletes with Kenyon Martin. He could hop, carry Kittles. So we're going to fly him down the court, get these buckets. And with Jason Kidd, his scoring is very underrated. He had years where he averaged 17, 18 points a game. And people forget about that because he came in the league with no jump shot. But was still able to, that's the crazy thing. He was able to get to the goal with no jumper. Like those early years in Dallas, you knew he wasn't going to shoot the ball. He still got to the rack. And because his passing was so good, you had to...
Yeah, right. You had to honor it, right.
Yeah, you had to honor the passes. So he had so many different weapons he could use because of that.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that if, when it comes to the last 30 seconds in the game, you trusting Kidd over Stockton or vice versa? Because I'm going Stockton. Because I know Stockton going to make the right play. Whether he knows to shoot it, to pass the call, or pass to someone else. But I know he's going to make the right play. I mean, and not saying, like I said, I think Kidd made the right play a lot of times also, but between those two, I have to go Stockton. I mean, I think to me, that's the difference between them was you had more options when it came down to the end of the game because you knew, because for the most part, if it was Kidd, you knew to back off. I'm going to let him take the shot, but we're going to make sure he don't have an open lane to pass it. Whereas Stockton, you had to play up on him because you don't want him to take the shot. You don't want him, but then you don't want him to drive past you. But then you know he was going to always find the right person. I have to go Stockton right there. And I think that's what separates them. I mean, because I think Jason's the top 5 easiest point guards. You know, but and it might honestly be Magic, Stockton, and Kidd as point guard. Top 3.
No, we definitely splitting hairs. Like it's a tough when you say about those last 30 seconds, you can't go wrong either way. But you do make some good points about Stockton because his shot was more consistent that you had to cover that shot. But he also was more hesitant about taking that shot. With Kidd, I feel like he was.
Stockton? You think Stockton was hesitant?
Yeah,
I think it was more hesitant. I think it was more so the smart play. I mean, again, Stockton could have averaged 20 points, but if I can get an easier shot and a better look with somebody else, I'm going to go do that. I mean, we saw Stockton hit the big shot against Houston. He's hit a lot of big shots.
Yeah,
you know, it might not have been the game winner,
Finals.
but it's been that, you know, with 28 seconds left, they're down by 1 or up by 2, and he's made those buckets. It's just that I don't know if it was hesitant. I think it was more of, let me get these guys involved, even with big shot or regular shots, because, and I think Kidd was like that too. Let me get my teammates involved more, so that way I can get them in the rhythm. I can score at any time I want. I'm not worried about my shot. You know, but I think that's what it was.
No, that's, like I said, very good points. You can't really, like I said, John Stockton, definitely one of the greatest of all time, and we're really splitting hairs here, but that's what makes the debate fun. With Kidd, only thing is, like I said, the edge for me for Kidd is that you can't control who you play for and who you play with, but with Kidd, going to those different situations and still thriving in each situation really showed how versatile he was. And you think of the fact that Key Van Horn is still eating today off of big checks because of Jason Kidd. You got to put that into the equation. Like I said, Kenyon Martin still eating today off of big checks because of Jason Kidd, and Kerry Kittles and all those guys that he made better that we know without Jason Kidd, those guys probably aren't even creating their own shot at all.
Right.
And like I said, I'm still trying to remember who he played with in Phoenix. All I can remember is Jason Kidd with the blonde hair. I can't remember who he's actually playing with.
He had Sean Marion.
Sean
Marion.
He did have Sean Marion.
Yeah.
That is true.
But still, it was like, come on, man. Phoenix wasn't. They weren't nobody like that. I mean, I agree. You know, they weren't that team. I mean, he definitely made them. You know, playoff team. And everywhere he went, usually besides Dallas, that team was successful. You know, so even at Dallas, I think in the last year, they had made a run where they were close to getting to the playoffs at one point in the season, like towards the end, and they died out. So, no, I mean, like I said, it's tougher than I thought it was. You know, when I thought about it, I said, man, Kidd was great. He was a great player. He definitely was. I just think that Stockton, what we see, and like I said earlier, the obvious is he's a great passer, and I mean it should be obvious that he played defense because he lead the NBA in all-time steals like by far, you know. But I think everything else he brought to the table, I think that's where it's like, because to me, the big question is, and I know he needs to go, but the big question is Malone what he is because of John Stockton.
That's a very good point. Like, I think both of those guys are, where they are in history because of each other. Karl Malone definitely wouldn't have scored all those points if it wasn't for Stockton. And Stockton wouldn't have all those assists if it wasn't for Malone. I think both of those guys are great alone, but together, became all-time greats because of each other. And unfortunately with Jason Kidd, he didn't get a person that good until, he was with Dirk in his last few years.
Right, yeah.
And then you saw, like, once he had somebody like Dirk, it was easy for him. Assists came almost too easy to him. So, great topic, man. We're splitting hairs on it. I'm going to go Kidd, you go Stockton. People listening, let us know who you got in the vote. But now let's move on to some current NBA. The Golden State Warriors have been on the NBA now for a couple of years. And Kevin Durant joined them last year. We both on the same page with that one. We thought it was a punk move by Durant, but now it's too late. And he's already with them, and they've won a championship and looked like they were set to go on this march for a few years. But now they're running into these injury problems. Steph Curry is out at least 3 weeks with a grade 2 MCL sprain in his right knee after JaVale McGee was too clumsy to stay on his feet after going after a block, ran into Steph Curry. And Steve Kerr said Steph Curry is at least going to be out for the first round of the playoffs. They also got Kevin Durant, who had the rib issue, Klay Thompson, fractured thumb, Draymond Green having little aches and pains here and there. Do you think the Warriors are in trouble right now?
I wouldn't say they're in trouble. I would say that, they might need to get close to start, to closer to God, because they might, it might get to the point where praying for real, like on the altar, like crying and spitting bubbles and all that, because man, that's a big blow. But if Durant comes back before the playoffs, Klay comes back before the playoffs, because you have a Durant and you have the other players, they can win the first round. They can get by in the first round. The luxury, we talk about the big three and all of that, but I don't think that we've seen anybody, the closest maybe, and I'm just at the top of the head, that you see two great players. And I was going to say Magic and Kareem, but Kareem wasn't in his prime, even though he was still killing the league. Kareem wasn't in his prime when Magic came. So when Magic was able to get in his prime, so to have two players in their prime playing with each other like they are, you haven't seen that. And the luxury, man, to have somebody, you might say the best Golden State player, if I can say this, the best Golden State player and Steph Curry, then you have a player that's better than him and Kevin Durant. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you still have Klay, and then you still have Draymond. People say that bench is not as strong, but Livingston, he's still hard to guard.
Definitely.
You have David West. You have shooters that fit well with the system. If he comes back after the first round, they should be good. Didn't we see the same thing? The funny thing is we saw the same thing 2 years ago when Steph was hurt. And remember, he didn't come back to was it the second? It was the last, I think it was like game 4, game 5 of the first round against
That was Portland, I believe.
Yeah. And this was without Durant. And he was still able to win. And so I don't think it's as big as it looks. But like I said, they better get ready to start playing if they can't get healthy, But I think they're all right, man. I think they'll be there somewhere in the end. Now, I do believe that with him being injured and coming back, he won't be 100%. It can cost them in the second round, or even in the conference finals because it's going to have to take more than he's honestly missed. What I mean, he played 3 or 4 games. I think. No, he just came back.
Yeah, that was his first game back.
You want to miss maybe 15 games, 13, 17, maybe 20 games altogether. I've been hurt, so 3 or 4 games is not going to get you back on track. So, but I think they get the first round, the second round. So, and I just think second and beyond that, it could hurt them. But I don't think they're in trouble.
I think that it could hurt them in the first round, depending on who they get. The matchup that's interesting to me is Utah, because Utah is such a good defensive team. And when you have a team that's that good defensively, and you take away one of the superstars that you have, now they can center more attention on Kevin Durant. And you have Klay Thompson, who's coming off a hand injury on his shooting hand. So it's not going to be like he's going to be stroking like normal either. And you talked about the luxury of this team. Think about the fact they probably have 3 of the top 10 shooters of all time in their prime on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. It's crazy. Right. And on top of that, they have the Defensive Player of the Year to add to the 3 of the top 10 shooters of all time. Like, I don't think that's what when people come to me and say that, why was I mad about Kevin Durant joining the team? Think about that sentence I just said. We've never seen 3 of the top 10 shooters of all time on one team, let alone 3 of the top 10 shooters in the league. Let alone these 3 guys are, all-time great shooters.
Right.
So you have that luxury of saying, okay, Steph Curry can miss the first round, but I don't want them to get too comfortable, because if they go in that first round against Utah, of course they'll win it. But let's say they go 6 games with Utah. And then that second round, like you mentioned, Steph Curry isn't back to himself yet. Klay might not be back to himself yet. And you have a team like OKC or Portland in that second round, or even New Orleans. I got to throw my team in there. And you have that team in that second round. That second round is going to be hard, man. And if you go through to a 6 or 7 game in that second round, and you get Houston in that third round, we could see a different team in the NBA Finals this year.
Well, the funny thing is, who's to say they play Utah? They might play Minnesota.
Ugh, that would be tough too. Yeah, that's right.
And if they play Minnesota and Jimmy Butler is back like he said he will be, that's tough, because now you have a team that pretty much, I like my chances with. I still think Durant's gonna score, but it's gonna be much harder on Durant, because now for him to carry the load, you got a Jimmy Butler that's going to be all in his face. That's going to make him play much harder. He's not going to get the easy shots like he's used to getting. And then he's going to play defense. We talk about how he can play defense, but now you're playing against a Jimmy Butler who's just as aggressive as you are. That's a lot, And
yeah.
So it could be, what I'm saying? It could be harder with the things, because it don't have to be Utah. It could be Minnesota. And if Minnesota get that 7th spot, then... And the funny thing is, let's be real, it could be OKC. Because right now, it's a game or 2 that separates from 8th seed to the 4th or 3rd seed?
Yeah, it's all... Yeah, 3rd through 9 is all jumbled up.
Yeah, so it could be OKC. Man, how big would that be if they play OKC in the first round?
Yeah.
That's when they're in trouble.
That's
so,
true.
You know what? I guess I'm tell you my answer. Depends on who they play, because, man, if they play OKC, they're in trouble.
Nah, that's a very good point, because, like you said, those positions can switch so fast. Because, like I said, I've been watching closely. My Pelicans are right there in the middle of that, that train wreck, which is the West right now. They literally will go from winning 10 games in a row to go to 3rd, lose 2 games, being 6th, win a game, being 4th. So by the end of the year, you could have anybody in that 7th spot willing to play them. So I think it could be trouble, man. Like you said, Minnesota, without Steph, Minnesota could take them down, I think. Without Steph, I think Minnesota could take them down. OKC can take them down without Steph. Now, of course, with Steph, Golden State's the favorite. But without Steph, I think those two teams have a really good chance against him. I think Utah can give him a good push just because they're so good defensively. But man, I think I wouldn't say they're in trouble, but I'll say they're in trouble-ish.
Yeah, they're in trouble-ish because they still have a great team.
Yeah.
Or a very good team, but it depends on who they match up with. Because like I said, Minnesota or OKC, it could be a problem for them. Everyone else, I think they let them off the hook. Because it's not like if they play, even if they played Portland would have two players. I mean, yes, they have Jokic, but they have two players. And it was like Steph was going to play defense on
Lillard.
Dame Dollar anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I think with OKC, you need that scoring power, especially when you're playing a defensive team.
That's true. I think the interesting thing about Portland with those two players is that I'll say three because I think Nurkic has earned his way up to be in that conversation as well with them because he definitely does his thing down low. But when you have Lillard and McCollum, you can't hide Steph. Usually you put Clay on the best guard. You have Steph, stick to off guard because on most teams today, you have one guard who's really good at scoring, the other guard who's there, maybe it's a 3-and-D guy, something like that. But
right.
These two guys, you got two guys who both can ISO, take you off the dribble, pull up, do whatever. And with them being so much better defensively this year, I think Portland could be an interesting matchup as well, even with Steph being healthy. The West is really good this year. I think the West could be really interesting.
Yeah, it is. And then, I mean, it's almost like whoever comes, I think it's Cook. I think they're going to start in Cook. I know they're going to play Cook a lot. If Cook comes in, he might play better defense than Steph, but, I mean, still, Shaq would say barbecue chicken, but yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It depends on who falls to number 7. Who's ever number 7, and like I said, if it's OKC or if it's Minnesota, I think that's where Golden State might be in trouble. I don't have Golden State going to the finals this year anyway, so.
Okay, hot take. Man, so you going with Houston right now?
I don't know yet. It might be. I picked Golden State to lose in the beginning of the season. I just had this feeling that they weren't. It just weren't their year. They weren't going to go. And I think the West has gotten better. I think it's going to be some unlucky matchup, and this could be it. To be prophetic, what I've been saying, and I think sometimes it's hard. That's why you don't see it a lot. You don't see a lot of teams playing 4 straight championships.
Yeah.
Whether it was the 80 Lakers, the Boston Celtics, you really saw that because it takes a lot out of you. You're tired. It's mentally, people start to know how you play. So it's not just the players you're playing against, but then it's fatigue. It's the mental aspect of it. It's a lot. And I just think some team will be able to take advantage of all of that and get past them. That's all. I felt like that from the beginning of the season.
Okay, so we might have Nostradamus controversy over here. Go ahead and have that prediction come right. Now, let's move on to the Eastern Conference, right? Now, the Eastern Conference looks a little different this year because you got Toronto up top, Boston in the 2nd seed, and those two guys are pretty much locked in. Cleveland right now is at the 3rd spot, but you also have Philadelphia, Washington this year, Indiana looking pretty good. Do you think this is another year where the Cavs are walking through the Eastern Conference?
I think so. I think LeBron gets there again. The East, I think Toronto, and I spoke about this last week, I don't think Toronto, they're still counterfeit to me. Because I don't think that they can beat Cleveland. They might be able to they might have a problem with Milwaukee if they have to face Milwaukee. But I don't think they can beat Cleveland. I think it's something mental when it comes to playing Cleveland. It's like the big brother. I can't beat my big brother. Why does he always tense up when it comes to the end? We saw it at the last game they played. Toronto had a nice lead, and then next thing you know, Cleveland came back. So it always tense up when it gets crucial. And just seeing LeBron walk in, was it last year who was it? Who said something about LeBron, like we can't beat LeBron, or
DeRozan.
What did he say again? Was that, I remember he said something to the effect of...
Yeah, they got swept, and I think a reporter asked him what was the difference. Like, what was the difference between these two guys? And he was like, they got LeBron. Like, that's what...
Yeah, they're the best player. LeBron, yeah, you can't say that. So, that's why I don't have Toronto beating them. Who else could beat them? Could Boston beat them?
No, Boston, they got so many injuries right now. We don't even know what team we're going to see in Boston. They almost bad as Golden State right now because you got Kyrie, who's going to be out probably for a playoff series. Marcus Smart out here slapping picture frames, allegedly.
So the only team that could give Cleveland problems, and they might face each other in the first round, is Milwaukee or Washington.
Okay. Now...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What about Philadelphia? Do you think Philadelphia could be a tough matchup for him?
No, I don't think so. Philadelphia's too young.
Okay. I can see that.
Philadelphia's too young. Next year, maybe. But right now, they're too young. Yes, they have J.J. Redick, but besides Redick, who else do they have that has that playoff experience?
Nah.
They're too young. Even with the coaches and the organization, nah. I think the games, it would be like playing like they played Detroit last year. When Cleveland played Detroit, I think it was last year or the year before last. When they were playing Detroit, it was the year before last, I think. Either one, when they were playing Detroit, I remember that they beat them 4-0, but it wasn't easy. Every game was a good game. Every game, it was a hard-fought game. I think it could be like that with Philadelphia, but I think they sweep Philadelphia if they play them.
Okay, now I definitely can see that. So you think Washington, of course that means if John Wall comes back healthy, Washington, and you said Milwaukee as well, could give Cleveland some issues.
Right.
I can see that because, of course, Milwaukee got Greek Freak, who's one of the few players in this league who can athletically stand toe-to-toe with LeBron. And I think Eric Bledsoe is an underrated part of what Milwaukee could do in the playoffs because he's so good defensively when he's turned on. And also with Jabari Parker, when he's ratcheted up as well, he can get you 20 points a game. He's starting to finally get into his groove. So I can see Milwaukee making some noise if they get the right matchup.
Don't forget Chris Middleton is coming back also. With Chris Middleton, they're saying that he's coming back. So with Chris Middleton coming back, this is a talented team, and the joke is long. So it's almost like watching Syracuse play. All them jokers long.
Yeah.
Except for the point guard.
True.
But they're a talented team. And I just think Washington's a better matchup for Cleveland, but Milwaukee they don't want to see Milwaukee right now. So, but I still think Cleveland will get back to the finals. I think they can, and I think they will. But if they play Milwaukee and Washington, I wouldn't be surprised if they got beat by them in the first or second round. Other than that, if they get past the second round, it's a wrap for Cleveland.
No, I definitely can see that. And the crazy thing is, though, with Philadelphia being so young, I think if Philadelphia gets Toronto in the second round, they may be able to take out Toronto, and you could have a Cleveland-Philadelphia conference final where I think that experience of Cleveland will definitely take over, and you'll see that what you're talking about come to fruition. I don't think it'll be a walkthrough for Cleveland this year, especially not having that second star. Kevin Love's playing great this year, and he is an all-star talent, but you don't have that second superstar like Kyrie. You don't have that second guy to handle the ball. And I think that's been a critical part of LeBron's success in the Eastern Conference. He's either had Dwayne Wade in Miami, or Kyrie, somebody else to take a little pressure off of him having to handle the ball all the time. With this team, he has to literally handle the ball all the time. He's, your point guard pretty much. And come playoff time, that could wear you down a little bit, even though there's no back-to-backs. It could wear you down if you have a team like a Milwaukee who is going to make every possession hard on you offensively because they're so long. So
now, the good thing, though, is Cleveland, they do have young talent. And then they have a veteran player that's coming along, and the point guard.
George Hill.
Slipped my mind. And who?
George Hill.
Yeah, Hill. With him being a veteran guy that's played in the finals, that knows how to, and I think he's more important in the playoffs because he knows how to, hey, let's slow it down, let's get the offense back going, let's start. And he's not afraid to, I got the ball, LeBron, hold on a second, let me just get the offense rolling. And not just to hold on to the ball, but get everybody where they need to be, then all right, let's play it, let's pass it to LeBron. Like, I think people look at, when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, where Iverson went to the finals that year, one of the most important players to me was Eric Snow. Not because he could score or he didn't score doing none of that, but he was that veteran that knew how to calm the offense down, calm everybody down. Hold on, let's take a breath, let's get everything situated back again, And, Iverson, come get the ball. And I think George Hill is that type of player who can score. He can get a few jump shots. But then you got all that young talent, man. That Hood, Nash Jr., Clarkson, still got Love. I mean, my man, I can't think of his name. Gerald Smith, Gerald Smith can come in and he could light it up for 2 or 3 games, so they still have a nice talented team. You don't have that second player, but to me, if they were healthy and they're playing better, if they had enough time, to me this team is better than the one with Kyrie because you just had those 2 players. But I think now it's spread it evenly. You got somebody who can play defense. You got somebody who can hit threes. And Cleveland have a nice team. So depends on who they play, but I think they get through the East fairly easy.
Yeah, this team is definitely deeper than last year's team. You think about the fact that you got, Jeff Green coming off the bench doing his thing this year so far. You mentioned Clarkson. I like Nance a lot. I think Nance is a really good role player, underrated. So you have talent there, but when it comes to those big moments, it's going to be all on LeBron. You could, if you can get a Kevin Love matchup in a post, maybe, but it's going to be, most of the time, it's going to be spread out. LeBron going to work and maybe kicking it out to somebody for a 3 instead of having that option of having a Kyrie or Dwayne Wade to, go ahead and take that pressure off. But now I won't keep you too long, so let's switch up to football real quick. Odell Beckham Jr. He has come out and said that he will be holding out until he gets a contract. And he's not talking about these little cute holdouts where people miss OTAs, they miss the voluntary workouts as if they're going to go anyway. He's talking about a real holdout. I can miss games if I don't get a new contract. Do you think Odell Beckham is doing the right thing?
Definitely, man. I mean, this guy is New York Giants right now. Yes, he's acting up, he's messing up, but I don't get why fans always say because you had a situation as far as like the situation when he had the lady, old girl was talking about. I mean, it seemed like old girl was smoking some white powder, some crack or whatever she was doing. I understand that. I mean, we can't prove that if that's what it was or anything, but other than that, Odell Beckham, he doesn't get in trouble off the field. On the field, I mean, you think of the antics, the only antic, honestly, was the antic the antics of him getting into it with Norman. That was it. I mean, yes, he got fined for that celebration. That was a celebration. How many people get fined for not fined, but get penalties for celebrations and the worst things? So he's not canceled like everybody thinks he is. I mean, he's a dealer, but that's what a lot of wide receiver is. I mean, and honestly, we don't have the divas like we had it back in the early 2000s. You know, and I think we're not accustomed to seeing that anymore. So we get on him about that, but he's a diva. But he does his job. He's top 3 in the league. So, yes, right now, this is your 5th year. You want to get paid. You want to go off what you had because you never know what can happen next year.
Nah.
You have to slow down. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with him doing this. I agree with him. I think he should. You know, I mean, but you do have this incident against him, you know, but still, I think he's doing the right thing for him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on this one. Because you think about the fact that he got hurt last year. So he now probably sees a little bit of his immortality. He doesn't see himself as invincible right now. So when you coming up on his 5th year, you're like, okay, it's time for me to go ahead and try to secure the bag, as people like to say. And if he is the Giants, not only as a wide receiver, as just a personality, he is the Giants. Eli Manning's not going to be there too much longer. And he's never been a personality guy anyway. So Odell Beckham's the guy putting the butts in the seats right now. You know, it's not like the Giants have this great team that's going to bring them. It's Odell Beckham that's going to bring people to the seats. So when you have Odell Beckham, and like you say, he doesn't get in real trouble off the field. You know, the craziest thing he's done is, hurt himself with the kicking net. Like, besides that, he's not really out here doing anything crazy. So I think that he's doing the right thing. He should hold off for his money. Now, the other side of it is, if you were the Giants GM, what would you do? Would you go ahead and say, okay, I got to go ahead and pay him and give him this bag? Or would you try to give him 1 year? How would you handle the situation from the other side of it?
I mean, of course, you don't, you want to hold as much money as you can, but, I mean, I think you have to pay him. I think what the GM is trying to do now with him coming out saying that is basically, we're coming into a new era of the Giants, which means we can't, we have to be all in and we have to, take this seriously, which I think Odell does, but still, I mean, I think he's making a point. And for him to say that we're not shopping him, but everybody's expendable, everybody can be traded or whatever, he's saying, like, stop it. I mean, come on, bro. I understand that, but just come out and say, just be real. Stop trying to come in as a big dog. Because when Odell is not working, he doesn't see it like that. So I think you pay him. I think you have to. If you lose Odell, this is his 5th year. So what you going to do, trade him? That's the only option you have. You're not about to let him walk. Like, they would be dumb to let him walk and get nothing for him. So you have to pay him. I mean, he's your franchise right now. He's your best player by far. He doesn't cost you games. So what's the big deal? I don't see what's the big issue here as far as pay him. So I think the GM is trying to come in and play, look, I'm running this team, this is how it's going to be, and whatever. Okay. I think Odell's going to call his bluff, and I think that's what he's doing. It's like, all right, that's what you say, okay. I'm saying no. We'll see. So I say pay him. You got to pay him to get that.
Yeah, definitely. You may play a little hardball. You may even go in the preseason and trying to maybe get him to not get the entire bag. Of course, that's your job as a GM, not to just give out money. But you only can play that game for so long. Once it comes down to like that 3rd preseason game, which we know is supposed to be, the real game where you do the dress rehearsal, and Odell Beckham's not out there, and people start to see that, and they're like, okay, maybe this is serious. Odell's really not going to be here for the regular season. Things are going to change. And you're going to have fans turning against you. And with you being new to the job, you can't come out here trying to be like, I'm gonna go ahead and establish myself over this player. We come to see the players. We're not coming to see you negotiate contracts. Come get the players on the field that we want to see and that we know can help us win games. So if I was a GM, I would try to negotiate, the best deal possible for the team, of course, because that's my job. But at the end of the day, I know I got to pay this man. Now, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? You don't do it that way as far as you don't come in and you make statements in the media. No, you do that to your team. You bring everyone together. Then you play big fans, Mr. Big Shot. This is what it's going to be. But you don't come out in the media and saying things like that way. That's not how you do it.
Nah, definitely. Because now, if you put yourself in a position where you guys are too far apart and there's no sign of the contract and you have to trade them, you're not going to get the return on value for Odell Beckham, especially if people know he wants out. Because now you've diminished the value of the product that you're trying to trade. So you are going to put yourself in a horrible situation if you play hardball too long. So you have to know, it's cute right now, trying to be sheriff and whatnot, but when it comes real time, you got to go ahead and get this man signed up. And speaking of people signing contracts, Ndamukong Suh, 1 year, $14 million, first reported by the three-point conversion. Shout out to LA Broadest. For the Rams, do you think the Rams, with the moves they made this offseason, including Ndamukong Suh, have closed the gap on the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I do. I think defensively they can be a terror quarterback. You have the perfect combination. You have the best interior front on the defensive side in the NFL with him and Donald. Oh my gosh, that's not even fair. And then you have the best cornerback tandem and Talib and
Peters.
So, and then they got some other players too to come up there, and another cornerback for Green Bay. So they right now they made it harder for teams to throw the ball on you. They're going to have to run on them. It's going to be hard to run because Donald and Suh need confidence in the backfield, and if that offense is still explosive like they were last year, I know that now they're the contender for the Super Bowl, for a player to get to the Super Bowl right now. I mean, they were already the second best team, or the third best team in the league, I think, in the East, last year, and now you just made your team that much better. That's not fair, man. Look at that combination. When you pushing up the middle, it's hard. It's hard to do that. You have a great defensive line and a great secondary. It's hard to be beat. I mean, and Denver has some great linebackers, but ask Seattle, or ask teams that played against Seattle, ask teams that played against Denver. They had a great defensive line and great cornerbacks. How can you get the ball out? Either the cornerback's going to help the D-line get sacks, or the D-line is going to help the cornerback get interception. Either or. So I think right now they're closer than everybody think they are.
Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. I've liked the moves they made this offseason. I didn't like that they lost Robert Quinn. I think that would have been great if they could have kept him and got Suh, but it's probably too much money right there. But man, this, like you said, I feel sorry for all the centers and guards that's going to be going against these guys this season, because you can't double team. Because normally when you have Ndamukong Suh or Aaron Donald, they always get double teamed. But now, who are you going to double team? And there's no center or guard one-on-one who can stop those guys. And once you have those guys, the pressure up the middle is worse than pressure from the sides. We always think of defensive ends when we think of the sacks and, the Von Millers of the world coming off the edge. But when you have that pressure coming up the middle, change the game, because now even no matter how elusive you are, when that pressure comes straight up the middle, it's hard to go around it and get to the outside, because then you have people waiting for you. If Ndamukong Suh or Aaron Donald's getting straight up the middle, now you're trying to escape to the outside, you have the defensive ends waiting for you. or linebackers, whoever. And then now you're rushing it. Now you're throwing bad passes, like you said. You're rushing it. You're going to the side. You're throwing bad passes. And you know Peters and Talib are great at getting interceptions. This team's gonna be nasty, man. It's gonna be nasty.
Hey, I'll say this and I'll leave it alone. Don't forget, at the helm you have Wade as a defensive coordinator, who was in Denver, who's everywhere he's been. The defense has been great when he was a defensive coordinator.
Yeah. No, that's true. Whenever he's a defensive coordinator, defense is always really good. Last year, the Rams' defense was good, and they didn't have the talent they have this year. So I can't imagine the things he's going to think up to do with the different options he has. So that's going to be crazy. But now let's move on to a little sports trivia. I got you going over time. I appreciate you staying patient with me. We're going to do a little sports trivia and forgotten players and get out of here today. So you are a Chicago sports fan. So, of course, I got to come with the Chicago sports trivia for you. So, for question number 1, who holds the record for blocks during their time with the Chicago Bulls? Is it Artis Gilmore, Michael Jordan, Joakim Noah, or Scottie Pippen? Let me give it to you one more time. Who holds the record for blocks during their time with the Chicago Bulls? Artis Gilmore, Michael Jordan, Joakim Noah, or Scottie Pippen?
I know it's not Joakim Noah. I don't think Artis Gilmore played long enough for the Bulls. But I'm going to go with, sorry, Mike. I think it's Mike, but I'm going to go with Pip.
Good guess, but incorrect. Artis Gilmore holds the record.
Artis Gilmore, I didn't think he played long enough to do with the Bulls. I thought Pip passed him up. Maybe Pip passed somebody else. Okay.
Yeah, Artis Gilmore played with the Bulls from 76 to 82 and very briefly in 1988. He had 1,029 blocks during his time with the Bulls.
Who was second?
Second is Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, okay. I thought it was Jordan, but I'm going to go with Pip. Yeah, okay. Good one.
Question number 2. Dennis Rodman holds the record for rebounds per game while playing for the Bulls with 15.3. I think we forget how much of a monster Dennis Rodman was on the boards and defensively. My man averaged 15.3 rebounds per game while playing for the Bulls.
Crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. Who is second in rebounds per game while playing for the Bulls? Is it Artis Gilmore, Charles Oakley, Elton Brand, or Pau Gasol?
Per game?
Yeah, rebounds per game.
You said Pau Gasol.
Yeah, so
Brand.
Yeah, your other options was Artis Gilmore, Charles Oakley, Elton Brand, or Pau Gasol.
It was Oak. You know what? I'm gonna take a wild guess. Seems like one of them crazy. I'm gonna go with Elton Brand.
That's a very good guess, but incorrect. My man Pau Gasol was out here on those boards when he was playing for the Bulls. From 2014 to 2016, Pau Gasol averaged 11 and a half rebounds per game.
Good one. I was going to go with him, but I just had a feeling he was I can't remember Eric Brand's numbers when he was with the Bulls. So I'm like, I know how Damian be doing. Good one. Good one.
All right, for question number 3, we're going to go football. Who holds the record for touchdown passes in a single season for the Chicago Bears? Is it Jay Cutler, Eric Kramer, Rex Grossman? Eric Kramer? That's correct. Yes, Eric Kramer in 1995 had 29 touchdown passes that year, which is still the record for the Chicago Bears. All right. For question number 4, it's a wild card question about the NCAA tournament. Who holds the record for total points scored during a single NCAA tournament? Is it Steph Curry, Kemba Walker, Glenn Rice, or Jerry West? Let me give it to you one more time. Who holds the record for total points scored during a single NCAA tournament? Is it Steph Curry, Kemba Walker, Glenn Rice, or Jerry West?
Kemba.
That's a very good guess. Now, Kemba probably holds the record for Big East tournament, But when it comes to NCAA tournament, the answer is Glenn Rice. In 1989.
Yeah, the 89 season.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't. Okay.
Yeah, so in 1989, Glenn Rice scored 184 points during his 6 games in the NCAA tournament. So let me recap the questions for the people. Question number 1 is, who holds the record for blocks during their time with the Chicago Bulls? The answer is Artis Gilmore, who had 1,029 blocks while playing for the Bulls from 76 to 82 and briefly in 1988. Question number 2, of course we know Dennis Rodman holds all the rebound records for the Bulls, but who is second in rebounds per game while playing for the Bulls? And it's Pau Gasol, who averaged 11.5 rebounds from 2014 to 2016. Question number 3, a man, controversy was all over this one. Who holds the record for touchdown passes in a single season for the Chicago Bears? It is Eric Kramer, who did that in 1995 with 29 touchdown passes. And question number 4, who holds the record for total points scored during a single NCAA tournament? It is Glenn Rice, who scored 184 points in the 1989 tournament. So thank you for being a good sport during sports trivia. And now it's time for us to do Forgotten Players. This is where we pay homage to players who may have been good but not great, great but not recognized, or players who you may have just forgotten about who we want to remind you of. Who is your forgotten player today, Mr. Controversy?
It should be Artis Gilmore. But my forgotten player, it was tough. I had 2, but I'm going to go with this guy as Daniel Marshall. You know, Daniel Marshall played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He got drafted by the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to focus on those 2 teams. Really Golden State, I think, where I'm going to focus on. I think, you know, he came in 94, 95. He averaged, I mean, when you look at, I hate to say his whole career because, you know, last 5 years, 3.5 when he was just, playing 10 minutes a game. So, but I'll go with his prime years, around 13, 14 points a game. He might say that's not that much. But he came in 94, 95, 1 year after Robert Horry. And I think Mr. Horry, he was, at the same time, but they were the stretch. They started the stretch 4 type players. And Daniel, when he came in the league, he could do it all. Marshall, I mean, this guy could shoot. I mean, at one point he led the league and led the NBA in history with the most 3-pointers in the game. And he also could post shoot. He could shoot the mid-range. He had moves. And I think we forgot how good he was. And people forget about his talent. But when you think about Daniel Marshall and you go back and look at his career, like I said, he was one of the pioneers from the stretch 4. He could knock down a 3. I think it kind of hurt him late in his career after he just became that guy in Cleveland to be that 3-point shooter or wherever else he went. But when he was in Golden State, I mean, he could do it all. He could post up. He was cold. He could do it all, and that is my forgotten player.
That's a very good forgotten player right there, and you're definitely correct when you think about Daniel Marshall. The first thing we think about is 3-point shooting, but he was a definite all-around talent and somebody who we should be remembered as that all-around talent. And speaking of all-around talent, my forgotten player was somebody who could definitely score in college in multiple ways. And he gets forgotten because he was teammates with Hank Gathers. Now, we all remember Hank Gathers because of the tragedy of him passing away during the WCC tournament in 1990. But that team, Loyola Marymount, went to the Elite Eight that year on the back of my forgotten player, Bo Kimball. Bo Kimball was a 6'4" shooting guard who started in college at USC with Hank Gathers. They were best friends growing up, and they went to USC together and transferred after their freshman year to Loyola Marymount. And in 1990, Bo Kimball led the nation in scoring with 35.3 points per game. And like I mentioned, Hank Gathers, unfortunately passed away during the WCC tournament. And Bo Kimball carried that team to Elite Eight. And after that, he was the number 8 overall pick in the 1990 NBA draft by the Clippers. And we all know during that time, that's where careers went to die. And Bo Kimball did not succeed in the pros. And I think it was because of the Clippers curse. All right. He had a very short NBA career, only 3 seasons, a lot of injuries. He didn't really play that many games at all. But he did have a successful career in the CBA. But shout out to our forgotten players today, Bo Kimball and Danielle Marshall. I hope you had a good time today, Mr. Controversy.
Yeah, I did, man. I had a blast coming in here, man. Hey, with Kimball, I think Kimball is one of those players that it kind of reminds me of Wayman Tisdale, even though he played in the league longer, that they were college players, and when it just never translated to the pros. Like, they were just better college players. Even with Clippers, I think Clippers were, at that time, Clippers were getting, they were getting to the playoffs. Like, they made the playoffs in 90, I think it was 93, 1 year.
It's the year they got Dominique?
Huh?
That was the year they got Dominique, right?
No, they got Dominique in 94.
Oh, okay.
That's when they started getting bad. But they made the playoffs in 93. They had Stanley Roberts. They had a few players that came up there, but I just think Kimball he wasn't fit for the NBA. And I think that, and I honestly think he lost his passion. I think he played that season because of Hank. That's why he played so great that year. And I think his passion was gone, and I don't think he had it anymore.
No, that's a very good point. That's something very hard to come back from, especially when it's your best friend. Somebody they went to the same colleges together because they were so close.
Right, exactly. But no, man, I had a blast. It was cool. I had a good time. Somebody. I'm not used to you challenging me, with the kid and the Stockton, but I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to be back.
Definitely, man. And tell people where they can find you and follow you.
Oh, once again, you can check out the 3pointconversion.com. That's the website. We cover it all. Baseball, hockey, football, basketball, college, even golf. We cover it all. Also, follow the 3-Point Conversion. Go to our Facebook page. Go ahead and like that. And we always bring out the fastest news, faster than 4-letter network, Fox Sports, CBS. You will get our stuff faster than all of those. Also, you have videos, trivia. Then also on Twitter at 3-Point. Look up the 3-Point Conversion on IG as well and Google Plus. Me myself. On Facebook, I'm Controversial Raphael. Always been controversial. On Twitter, Mr. Controversy 21, and on Instagram, Controversial Raphael as well. And like I said, check out our YouTube page as well, the 3-Point Conversion. We have we have videos, we have a lot of interviews, so we're all over. Check me out.
Definitely. 3-Point Conversion is everywhere, covering everything. And I'm trying to slide into the boxing slot, so make sure you read my boxing articles on 3pointconversion.com. And I'm going to be writing about a lot more things as well, especially come playoff time. A lot more basketball articles going to be coming from me. So make sure you check out 3pointconversion.com. Follow me on social media at The Real Deal WDA. That's The Real Deal, W as in Whiskey, D as in Delta, A as in Alpha. And check out my YouTube channel as well, The Real Deal with Damian Adams. And subscribe. Tell your friends about us, all right? Because you're getting good content. Don't be selfish. Share it, all right? And until next time, go real or go home.